Hey y'all, my name is Spencer Dunlap from Bodhi Surf and Yoga here in Bahia Vita, Costa Rica, and today I'm going to be talking about paddling out past the impact zone to start catching green waves. If you are a beginner who is trying to get out past oncoming whitewater waves so that you can go sit outside and start catching green waves, you're probably going to be on a longer board, maybe somewhere in the 8 to 9 foot range. So you're not going to be able to duck dive those waves like you see most professional surfers doing on their short boards. So there's two techniques we need to cover to help you get out to the lineup. So when you enter the ocean and you're preparing to paddle out to the green wave zone, the first thing you want to do is walk your board out as far as you can, maybe to about stomach deep water. Once you hop on and you start paddling, the first technique you're going to use most frequently is called the plank position. You're going to use the plank on waves that are smaller and have a little bit less energy. I want you to imagine that you're paddling your board out and there's oncoming walls of whitewater, right? So how are we going to get either through or over that whitewater? Well, for the plank position, just as the wave is hitting the nose of your board, you're going to lift your body up, full extension in the arms, hips come up as well, plank position, let that wave rush under you, and as soon as it passes over the tail of the board, you're going to come back down and continue paddling. Okay? So white water's coming, it's about to hit the nose. Just before it does, hands on the deck of the board in line with your chest, toes also go into the board, and you lift fully up, top of a push-up position or a plank. As soon as that onrushing whitewater goes underneath your hips, you need to come back down and keep your momentum moving forward. One mistake I frequently see with beginners when they are performing the plank is they forget to lift their hips up. So what happens when you do this, you extend your arms, you lift your chest up, but then that wall of whitewater is going to hit you right in the crotch, right? It's going to hit you in the hips and push you backwards. So really make sure you emphasize lifting your hips up as high as you can, squeezing your core and your belly tight, full extension. Maybe you even want to shift forward a little bit to keep that momentum going forward. And it's a really quick up and down, right? So I'm paddling, here comes the wave, up, let it go under me, back down, continue paddling. The quicker the better. You want to keep your momentum moving forward. Once you get to the top of your plank, make sure you're not hanging out here for a long time. If you perform the plank 3 or 4 times in succession, your arms are going to get tired, right? So the longer you hang out here, the less you keep your momentum moving forward and the more physically drained you get, right? So it should be very quick. We're not hanging out at the top. It's up, back down, continue paddling. The second technique you're going to use to get out to the green zone is called the turtle roll. You use the turtle in bigger surf, big waves that are either breaking right on top of you or that you're not going to be able to make it over using the plank, right? So if I'm paddling out and I get to the top of my plank and I cannot see over the wave that is coming at me, then that's a situation where I should have turtled instead, right? So any wave that you cannot see over at the top of your plank, you're going to need to turtle roll. So what does the technique of turtle rolling look like? I'm paddling my board out. There's a big wall of whitewater coming at me, or there's a green wave that's about to break right on top of me, right? So turtle roll. I'm going to grab the rails of my board, either in line with your chest or slightly in front. I'm going to hold on firmly and I'm going to flip the board over the top of me just like this. Okay, so let's break down this turtle roll technique in a little bit more detail. So timing is really important. The turtle roll takes a little bit longer than the plank, so you need to initiate your turtle roll about a board length away from the wave. Okay, give yourself some time to flip that thing over, and then as soon as the wave hits the nose of the board, it's going to pass over the top of it and release you. That's when you need to flip back. So it should be pretty quick, but our timing, we're starting a little bit earlier than we would start our plank position. All right, so there's a wave coming at me. It's about a board length away. I'm paddling. I need to keep my momentum moving forward. I'm going to grab the rails. I'm pulling with my dominant hand, which for me is my right hand. So I'm pulling this right rail. At the same time, I'm pushing hard with my left hand on the left rail, keeping my feet together underneath the tail of the board. So I pull and I push, flip, okay? I'm trying to keep my arms extended When that wave hits you, you can even take your arms out in front of your head and push the nose of the board through the wave, right? So my arms are extended, that board is away from my face. I'm turning my head off to the side so that if the board does come back at me, it's not gonna bonk me in the nose, right? Notice my legs. I'm keeping my legs underneath the tail of the board. I'm not wrapping my legs around, okay? My legs are also not off to the side at a weird angle. I'm trying to stay directly underneath this board, okay? While you're underwater, you're only gonna be here for a second or two, right? So you're holding your breath, but you're slowly releasing oxygen out of your nose. You're blowing a gentle stream of oxygen out your nostrils, okay? So in order to flip back over, once that wave passes over the top of your board, you're gonna take your dominant hand, you're gonna punch and pull with your offhand, right? So for me, I'm punching with my right hand and I'm pulling with my left hand. So this is what it looks like to flip back over, okay? So punch and pull, boom, chest on, legs on, make sure I'm in a good position, maybe readjust, take your toes to the tail of the board, and then continue paddling, okay? It's very important that you flip back over as soon as that wave lets you go. You get on your board as quickly as possible and start paddling because you want to keep your momentum going forward. The more turtle rolls you have to perform to get out past the whitewater zone, the more tired you're gonna get, right? You're gonna get exhausted. So it really is in your best interest to make these turtle rolls as quick as possible. As soon as you flip back over, don't hang out floating off to the side of your board, right? Get back on, get that chest on, get your feet on, and continue paddling, get your momentum moving forward so you can make it out quicker without having to do an extra turtle roll. So one more time for emphasis, right? This is what the turtle roll looks like in real time. Paddle, 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 grab my rails, flip back over, chest on, feet on, continue to paddle. So now you know how to plank, you know how to turtle, and you're gonna be able to get out past the whitewater zone, out to the surf lineup where you don't have these constant waves breaking on top of you, right? So you're now gonna need to be able to sit on your board and turn your board around in the seated position in order to paddle for waves. You're not gonna be able to touch the sea bottom when you're out in the main lineup. So being able to balance on your board, being able to turn it around on your butt as opposed to on your feet is really important now. Let's go cover that down at the pool. So once you make it out past the impact zone, it's really important that you're able to sit on your board in a nice, comfortable position, okay? So your butt's gonna go right behind the center of your board. On this board here, I have a handle that tells me where the center is, right? Just find a position where you can sit comfortably, keeping your chest up, squeezing the rails of the board with your legs. This is how you're gonna sit in the lineup, waiting for the wave to get to you. Once you identify your wave, instead of coming back down to the prone position and paddling to turn your board around, it's much more efficient to turn your board from the seated position, all right? So what you need to do is scoot your butt back until the nose of the board lifts up. You're gonna grab the rails of your board, start kicking your legs, maybe use your outside hand to paddle and turn the board, okay, and get that thing turned all the way around. The reason you need to scoot your butt back and lift up the nose is so that you're pivoting off the back rails and off the fins of your board. It's much easier to turn the board with the nose up out of the water than with the board flat, okay? So grab the rails, scoot my butt back, nose lifts out, I kick my legs, use my hand, and then I'm down and I'm ready to paddle. While we're here in the pool, let's go ahead and cover proper paddling technique for beginners. So this is not advanced paddling technique, this is just basics, things you want to keep in mind, all right? So when you're in the prone position on the board, proper position, you're squeezing your feet together, you're pushing your hips into the board so that you can lift your chest up and your eyesight is up, right? So core is turned on, legs are squeezed together, I'm right in the center of the board, my hips are in the center of the board, so I'm in a good position, right? When you're ready to paddle, it's really important that you close your fingers. You make these little scoops, right? Okay? I'm gonna start with my right arm. I reach my right arm out as far as I can towards the nose of the board, keeping my hand close to the rail. I'm gonna dig my entire forearm underwater, okay, along the rail of the board. So fingertips closed, reaching out as far as I can. My entire forearm goes underwater all the way to my bicep, right? I'm dragging my forearm along the rail of the board, and then my hand exits. Okay, as soon as this hand exits, my left arm comes forward, reaching towards the nose, forearm under, all the way to the bicep, drag my forearm along the rail of the board, okay? It helps to keep time or count in your head, okay? So get a nice rhythm. I don't wanna see you aggressively paddling as hard as you can. You're gonna tire yourself out really quick. So that's why it helps to count your strokes, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is what it looks like, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Reaching as far out as you can. Nice and smooth, easy rhythm. Okay, notice how quiet my stroke is, right? I'm not flicking water out the back, okay? Nice and smooth. My entire forearm is submerged, okay? Nice clean exit, nice clean entry, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2.